A short game here today. We are on Spirit Watch, so ranked is over. The build I'm playing is a fresh early. I don't specifically have the build panel up here to show you. I mean, this is totally standard. There's nothing different or weird about what I'm running today. But yeah, so ranked is over. My thinking, like last week, was that when ranked was over, we'd end the Game of the Day season, so this is episode 40 whatever, and we'd end it there, and I'd do like another project every day on this channel. I don't know what, I had a few vague ideas until ranked came back, but I'm still kind of enjoying playing unranked at the moment, bizarrely and weirdly, so I don't know what I'll do over the next couple of days. You might just see more Game of the Days coming out, we'll see. So this is actually a game I played last night about 10 o'clock instead of this morning, and I'm not doing it this morning because I don't really have time. The big release is coming out today, All or Nothing, and I'm really excited to get in and do that. So yeah, let's just roll on in and see what we've got going on. If I remember rightly, I'm picking this game because A, it's Spirit Watch. We don't see much Spirit Watch. And I like the aesthetic of the map, if anything. If not anything else. And, well, that suggests I have a horrible complaint with the orb mechanic. That's not necessarily true. But I think we get some nice wombo combos on this this game. So let's see. We've precast the fire aura and exploded it to give our team might. Actually, just me might there. Here I'm precasting a Dragon's Tooth, because I'm going to set up the warrior for the big burst, but he goes shield block straight away. So because he goes shield block, that actually affects things a lot. I now no longer have time to immob him under it and all that other stuff. I can interrupt the shield block, so we go Gale. You can actually open this entire combo with a Gale to bait a dodge, because anyone who gets Galed against a fresh air early is going to stun break dodge. And if they don't, you can just kind of pressure them in the meantime and then do your big combo later, knowing they only have one other dodge left. So anyway, I do this here to interrupt his shield bash, and I notice he stays on the floor. So we fracturing strike anyway, and we immob him anyway. He cleanses and starts running off. And basically, from the amount of damage I did here, I can kind of get the feel that he's probably got a good amount of pressure here. So I lightning flash up the side. So when I lightning flashed up the side there, you might say that was a bit of an obscene cooldown. But I do this because of the node over here. Now, the way I win this fight is very easily, I just stay at range and just kill him. So what he has to do to stop me doing that is kite. And I know at this node, he's got a lot of good line of sight opportunities, which are hell for a fresh air Ellie. Namely this rock and the thing at the back, but from this angle, the rock is the more prominent one, right? So I know all of that's going to be a thing. My only counter to him using line of sight is to free pressure him while he caps the node. So basically what I'm saying is I have to get to him and engage on this pressure really early, because by the time he full caps this, you know, I'm at a dead end because he'll start at line of sight, all right? Which is very easy on this node as opposed to the other side of the map where it's a little bit harder for people. So that's why I flash up here. I also flash up because I think we just saw him Bulls Rush or GS5 or something in this direction. And knowing he's just used a bit of mobility there, that's like one gap creator that he's just blown, so I can blow one too, you know, and go blow for blow. Does that all make sense? So here I swirl, because I think he's going to throw an axe or something at me. I think he's on axe, that's the thing. And you'll notice how he immediately comes to the rock. So I'm happy with this, because what it means is he's not actually taking my node. There he uses GS5 and I dodge really late, which is a bit bad. So we just say very kite and away. Here he's in shield block, so we just cancel cast. Now, you might... That cancel cast is a bit of a weird one. You saw I did it late. The reason why that's late is because I'm actually in fire main right now, which I don't easily open up my air attunement again, so you could let it roll. The only reason I cancel cast that is because I didn't want to give him extra might. That's the only reason. Quite often, though, it's a very good idea to early cancel cast, no matter what you're against. Distortion, a shield 4 from a chrono, whatever, because it allows you to restart your air auto as they come out, and then you can use whatever other attunement you like to reset it, instead of it awkwardly ending after you just whiffed a ton of hits. So anyway, that's why we stowed there. And you'll notice I think I have the combo possible. I don't go for the combo, I go for plasma beam. And now I need to get on the node to decap, because while he was blocking and whatever he was capping. So I take a CC on him, and I'm standing on this, not to win the fight or anything, just to get more pressure down. And we stun him. He goes ham. This, I'm also really I'm double happy. So first of all, I'm happy because he's charging off instead of capping, which is beautiful. And then I noticed that I'm actually being plussed, and I haven't been very good with my camera. So this is luck here, actually. And I'm just going to pull totally away. He misses his shield block. Here I could have jumped onto the pillar as well. But now he turns around and he hasn't got the awareness to know he had allied support with me running off. So that's kind of beautiful. Looking at mids, I know he might still be coming towards me as soon as he notices the thief's there. So, but I need to take a new target. I'm not interested in the warrior anymore. So I go for this Scourge. We do a bit of pressure. The warrior's on me, you'll notice. I immediately got full counter there because of an ally proccing it. I think, anyway. Maybe he walked into my beam. So anyway, we get a kill with the Reaper, and they're positioned beautifully for some AoE pressure here. This Dragon's Tooth will hit both of them. And a Phoenix would have been really nice as well. But the warrior's still on me, still stunning me, still attacking. I don't, it's a funny thing with warriors. They tend to tunnel vision pretty hard. So here, what I was going to do is if he stayed towards me, I was going to Phoenix Earth Immob. But he didn't. So that's why you can see I've got this here. And I'm just waiting to see what other trajectory or watching for a dodge people might move at. So here he is. So there you go. So we cast the Phoenix out, swap to Earth, and immobilize him. It's actually a little bit too early of an immob. If I had done it a bit less, his dagger skill would have moved him in a bit. He's dagger, right? Not axe. I know I mentioned axe a second ago. I think earlier in the game I thought he had something range. So, yeah, if he was slightly over, we would have got more ticks. But that's a pretty nice combo, and you don't often see me do it. And thus, we put him to this health, and he endured pains. That was a late... Oh, no, maybe it wasn't too late of an endure pain. Anyway, I got my Firebrand, who can so aggressively DPS... even if they're support. I don't know what variety of Firebrand they are. I haven't interacted with them much. So now my decision was to go towards Far to help outnumber this and quickly kill it while the warrior's on respawn. But instead I noticed that there's Reapers here in an open field. And there's a Scourge. So these are good targets for me. I obviously can't hit them both. And I know that marks are coming. So I get off of the pillar. So here I take a double... By the way, the Dream combo, which is what you're seeing I'm trying to do here... Precast Dragon's Tooth, Immob, Fracturing Strike, and then we're going to do Air. A lot of that's AoE, if they're close enough. And they're kind of close here. So, it looks like my main target is the Reaper, though. Who is the better target, by the way. Any Scourge with a little bit of life force right now can press F2 dodge. Reapers, unless they're running Staff, and even with Staff, they may have to weapon to swap it to it and have the cooldown of casting it and, you know... and I can even dodge. They have less immob cleanse access, so they're nearly always better burst targets. Also, by the way, as we crit and do things, we have a lot of cover condies, which you often apply with the Arcane Wave. It seems I was a bit late with that on this one. But anyway, so yeah, we get the cover condies in. And so there you go. So I'll replay that through just in real time so you guys can see. Once we've done that, we get the Reaper, our priority target, to 2% health. I think if we were slightly luckier with crits, he'd be dead right now. Or if I had gambled with a different sigil, if I'd gone Sigil of Exposure, he'd be dead right now. I haven't gambled with a Sigil of Exposure. I like intelligence. I don't like these horrible moments in games where you just get 0 crits. Remember, there is actually ramp to a Fresh Air's potential. They need a crit to get Fury, to get Ferocity, to get more crits, to do more. They need that initial crit, and you're gambling on the initial crit quite often at, you know, a 60% chance. Intelligence stops that. Anyway, so yeah, you put him to 2%. The Scourge is kind of low. The Burning killed him anyway. My Reaper comes in, and so I got this Scourge to whatever %, and the Reaper just hammers him down now. So that's beautiful, like so cool. We just destroyed their 2 DPS carries. A Thief comes in as well, but unfortunately too late. So this is really nice as well. My Guardians dropped this line, and I'm waiting for the Plasma Beam. Now, normally I'd wait for like another dodge or something, but I know that the Thief is aggressing my allies, and he's about to go over the line. So I just guess he's going to, and I Plasma Beam. He gets CC'd in the line and dies. Brilliant. I thought that was such a cool little sequence when I was playing this, even though this game overall is a pretty short game for reasons that may become apparent in a second. So here I'm getting killed by... a Ranger who is unblockable and hitting me through my Swelling Winds, I think. Or he just pressured me really hard beforehand. Actually, that looks like a short bow in his hand there, isn't it? But we can see he's Soul Beast merged. I'm pretty sure it was Unstoppable Union. Like I said, that's the real problem with that build, in my opinion. And it's not just because I'm Fresh Air and I'm reliant on that kind of mitigation. Here, I'm trying to port up, but I'm used to being a Mesmer, who inexplicably get more range, lower cooldown, and higher quality of life on their teleport skill than Ellie's do, despite being baseline tankier. Hey, who would have thunk it? So basically, I'm thinking that this is going to work like Blink, and it doesn't. It's no line of sight, apparently. So only Mesmer's allowed to go up here. You Mesmer mains can thank Robert G for that. I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't point specific balance on specific devs. But anyway, so yeah, it was pretty scary, but this isn't basically a 500 no. The enemy team will come back into it. But my team saves me. So, now they're on respawn, and I'm basically just watching that. We can go for the same dream, but this time I cast my... So, I talked a bit about this the other video. Let's go into it a bit more here, since the game itself won't have much discussion. There's a lot of interplay between the Dragon's Tooth. If you Dragon's Tooth really early and suddenly, and then a Mob really suddenly and early, like macro speed levels, really quickly, what will happen is the Mob will naturally run out early enough that they can dodge the Dragon's Tooth if you do it quick enough, right? Especially if they're running Condi duration reduction, which some Condi builds are on ore runes, and you do see stuff like that around, right? So they reduce the immobilized duration and they can dodge you. So what you want to do is cast the Dragon's Tooth and wait a few seconds before the immob and then still have them under it. So there's actually a lot of like leading. If I see that he's running along this river, I want to like lead the tooth ahead, have him walk him, and then have him notice, oh shit, there's a tooth, and then... But you'll notice that there's always an option out for the opponent. Seeing the Dragon's Tooth early enough and then just not stepping under it, right? Or after they've stepped under it and been mobbed, if they've been caught with their pants down like that, you know, dodging. That's before we even talk about the cleanse and stuff. So there's a lot of little things like that you can think about if an Ellie's really going for the big wombo combo. And that's why in the past I've really fallen out of using this very much, because as soon as you go against better players, your success rate drops massively. Though we're in unranked today, so hey. And so here, he moves unpredictably to the side a little bit. And I immobilate as well, so he's even got the evade. So that doesn't manifest. And now he's pushed out really hard with marks. He's got a Spectral Grasp on me. It's generally all really good. He goes into Reaper Shroud, and I'm really scared, because if he gave himself stab there, I was done for. But I noticed he didn't, so I just gale him. And now he's running in the other direction. So this is a pretty classic situation where people fear Fresh Air Ellies when they shouldn't. He should have kept hounding me there. He's also dropped out of Shroud now in a gross situation. I don't need to wombo combo him here. But I sort of half-assed go for it. You notice the Dragon's Tooth doesn't do anything there. So we kill him. The Thief is going to come on me now, and this is pretty dangerous. I noticed he opened with Headshot, so I was thinking for a second about Swirling Winds, because he might do it again and again and again. And if I could get the Swirling Winds cast out, it can be kind of fun. But instead he moves in at a pretty nice time. I think I remember being really frustrated with that steal. I don't know why on post-commentary. Anyway, I come to no port, and this is beautiful. As I make the gap, he shadow shots me. So that's his gap close. And it puts him on the ground underneath. So that's brilliant. And I notice he just dodged, so I can burst him now. And now I've got the, you know, the advantage. Hey, Dagger Storms, I'm not going to dodge this. I'm just going to kind of stand here and wait. And precast a Gale for when Dagger Storm ends. Well, he's... A bit of advice to thieves. If you're in Dagger Storm against a Fresh Air Ellie, quite often it's a good idea to dip out early. Because anyone half worth their salt will do what I just did to this guy. Even if he, like, tries to mug me to resustain there, he's still... that's not a stun break. He's still down. I also get a core guard that helps me as well, so... so, yeah, there's that. I don't know. I think we've got some interesting topics. What else happens this game? Well, here you'll notice I'm not really interested in the mid fight. It looks like we have numbers there. I'm not really interested in close. I've got a guy AFK there. I know that they're going to respawn and come along here. I know that it's open fields. So here I want to fight this guy. But you notice instead of going down, I jump to this. It's because I'm buying time for my Arcane Wave, which is slightly off cooldown. Here, still buying time. I don't know what it is, man. On so many Game of the Days, I'm like struggling to walk on like I can't even say that this game was like late at night and I'd been doing loads of queues. So here we're going to do the wombo combo even though he's in Shroud, which is nice because we want to break through that Shroud to prevent his pressure and obviously to get to his juicy, ripe, weak insides. So he's down. I'm going to FGS this. That's something you've been missing a lot of really good meaty FGS plays recently. God, I love this skill. If I ever made a montage, it would be called I Am the Greatsword, and it would be purely FGS plays, swinging team fights. That's like one of my favorite things. That's why my balance suggestions for Ellie, and I say this not just for Fresh Air Ellie, but all variants of Ellie. I would love the cooldown of this skill to go down, because it is just so fun. There's interesting team play and dynamic with the people who are actually intelligent enough to pick it up and understand what it does. Oh, it's awesome. It's a really, really cool skill. I was thinking another thing for Conjure Weapons. What if Conjure Weapons were like kits in that you could equip them instantly and just go for it? But once you unequip a Conjure Weapon, it disappears for its full duration. So I can hold on to an FGS infinitely if I like, for its mobility aspects, for its escape potential, or whatever, for an explosive opening. But it's only when I drop it that it's gone for good. And maybe you can hold... I don't know. Because the thing is... And that might seem really weird to you guys. Like, why would you ever advocate an infinite conjure weapon? Thing is, Ellie is so reliant on its weapon skills because it has 20 of them, and its power is proportioned throughout 20 skills. So it's not like on NG, where they only have one weapon that's ever available, and some tool belt skills, which are available whether you're in a kit or not, and then the kit can kind of supplement and act as other weapon sets. You are at a major disadvantage if all you're doing is running around holding a fiery war axe or a lightning hammer, because you miss out on your invulns and your cleanse and your projectile mitigation and just so much stuff across so many different weapon sets, right? So you're extremely vulnerable as an Ellie while holding those. So even if they were infinite, you would be forced to drop out eventually because of Obsidian Flesh or whatever. I say eventually, I mean very quickly. But it would just give them that little bit of extra quality of life, maybe? I don't know, because then you have to consider what that means for allies holding them. So this is perfectly timed. Immob, he's right under the tooth. And we get another one. That time he ended at 1%, and then the burning finished him off. But yeah, so, you know, this is... So I mentioned in a previous video, there is one combo that will one-shot, okay? When I say that, there are various circumstances baked into that and understandings baked into that. First of all, we're talking about Marauder and up. We're talking about actually meta amulets. We're talking about real builds that you will find around Guild Wars 2. So, Zerka, you can one-shot Zerka builds... you know, especially if they're not running a defensive line, very, very, very comfortably. But there aren't really many of those around. Some people are actually chancing Zerka builds at the moment and put a lot of value on them and really chancing them. But this will always counter that very heavily. So obviously there's one-shots against Zerka stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about in the real world. How can we one-shot? That's kind of what you're looking at there. And it's actually quite a staggered thing with a good wind-up, visual tell. It's not Plasma Beam. Plasma Beam is not a one-shot and hasn't been a one-shot for years, okay? I don't even know if right when POF it was a one-shot, because it wasn't PvP in right when POF came out. What was the other thing I was going to say about all of this as well? Yeah, so the other thing is, obviously, we're doing this to Necros and hunting Necros. That's really who I seek to rotate into all the time. This has also been afforded just because of 2 balance patches ago, when, last balance patch was it, when Last Gasp got removed. Do you remember I did a game of the day and I said, hey, theoretically, Fresh Air is a little bit better now because... X, Y, and Z. One of the changes was that Necromancers aren't automatically gaining protection. Thus, you want to run annulment or some shit to get rid of it in the middle of your burst. No, they don't get it anymore. And so that's why this is a thing, okay? And that actually did change the undercurrent of Conquest in a big way, I think, that most players have no appreciation for. But yeah. So anyway, he goes for the res, and I'll interrupt with a water shift if I have to, but then he stops trying to res. So, here I'm actually playing bad. The reason, and I do this quite often, this is one thing I can demonstrably say I'm not very good at the game. Basically, I kind of lose my mind a bit when there's a down state. This is a very simple situation. He's not rezzing. There's no threat here anymore. This guy's on no health. I can completely dismiss this, free up all my lizard brain to dealing with this. I could have acknowledged the second that he left to just ignore this body. It doesn't matter. I suppose there's a slight chance that a res will happen here, but my friend can deal with that. That's fine. What I need to do is learn to drop the ball very quickly once there's a down state, especially in like a 2v2 scenario. And you know, this isn't actually a 2v2, it's a 1v2, but you get what I mean. And also, think of the power of that, right? If I couldn't have done this and put this guy into down state, how much trickier this whole situation would be. So yeah, anyway, this is bad. This arcane wave over this entire focus, the past 3 seconds of standing around here, I should have been on full blast kite right now and tried to shake this guy onto the node and then turn back on him. But, so yeah, a bit silly. Anyway, he's down and now I leave. But I could have left already, right? He would have bled out, or if he bandaged, he could have just been dealt with. So... this is quite nice. I was minorly proud of myself here. We all know we can be spammy at times. Here's a thing where I'm often spammy. I take the Gale CC. Now, quite often, I find myself spamming the Gale straight into the Earthen Synergy. So this is knockdown, this is stun. These are my big hard CCs. And quite often I find I spam them. It's a very bad idea to spam them though, because if he stun break dodges... why would we ever spam these back-to-back? Because he stun breaked and continuing to push. But the thing is, nearly everyone stun break dodges. So if he stun breaks, then this is just going to whiff into an evade. It's such a bad idea to spam these. So instead what I do is I just Gale, and I'm using my eyes, and I'm like, oh, he's not stun breaking. Cool. I'll take all these 3 seconds to walk back towards my ally, because no one was at mid, which is where I was originally going towards. And now once he stands up, we earn synergy afterwards. And now we super speed. And you get away very comfortably, right? So that's a very basic thing. Just a little thing of, you know, don't spam. Watch carefully. And obviously, I don't really care about fighting. Well, not obviously. This guy's pretty squishy, to be honest. And he was hunting me before. And he poses a significant threat. I'm going to drop down here to line of sight. But killing this Scourge seems like a good idea, particularly because he's been in a 1v1 for a while. So here we see he's already in beast mode and on bow, which means he has no unblockable, and we can swirl, which will actually work. So that's nice. Bust through the barrier here. We immob, fracturing blast, and anyway, the game's over there. We just won an orb, I think. So there you go. Not a very long game, but I think there were enough interesting discussion points to talk about. We picked up top damage there. Not much else to say, really, I think. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm off to play the new patch now. And thanks very much for watching. I'll see you very shortly. 12-0, 36% team damage. I guess that's notable as well. I'll see you soon.